Tony.
They're completely insane. A nuclear facility?
I get it, man. Look.
Those maniacs are crossing the line. I make weapons smarter, more accurate, more efficient, but nuclear energy. That's indiscriminate destruction.
Yeah, you could hurt somebody. Look, I need to talk to you
AIM is a menace.
That's what I need to talk to you.
Brody, look at this. Triggering a nuclear meltdown. But to what end? At first I just wanted to destroy my own weapons, and that was simple, but... Now I know about AIM. And since I know, I have an obligation to do something about it. Right? Don't I?
Tony, will you listen to me for a second? Look, we've lost contact with one of our ships. It's an advanced prototype out on a maiden voyage, and we think it might be AIM. The forces are mobilizing, but they can't move fast enough.
Brief me in the air.
We lost contact with the ship some time ago. It's state-of-the-art, worth billions.
I know, I sold it to you.
So why? They already own a bunch of your weapons.
They need power sources, Rhodey, and the reactor on that ship has got it in spades.
Suggest staying clear of the control drone, sir.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that?
Recommend clearing out the remaining hostile forces, sir.
So basically, if it moves, I shoot it, right? I think I got it covered.
The game goes up in difficulty quite a bit from here, and you also fight a lot more enemies, but that's fine with me. Jarvis suggested we should take out all the base defenses before we do anything else, so that's what we're gonna do. You might see that weird force field around the ship down there. If we enter that, it screws with our systems big time, and, well, our overall visuals. That's because it's being used to control all electronic devices within that small area, so even though our suit is pretty dang good, it will mess with it. This is also definitely the stage where you shoot the second largest amount of enemies, because as you can see, there's a lot of stuff shooting at us right now. And our Silver Centurion armor doesn't have very much defense, but even if we were wearing better armor, this stage would still be pretty tough.
Almost as good as mine, Brody.
Never thought I'd hear those words, Tony.
Oh, did I just say that? Those, controller things must be getting me.
Hostile forces at half strength.
You have to clear enemies away from 3 separate bases, and you can do this one by one, or you can just shoot anything in your path indiscriminately. I recommend the second. The stage actually ends a lot faster that way, even though it may not seem like it. Man, there are missiles coming from everywhere, and lasers. So they say the weapons that AIM has are the best so far, and that's not all talk or anything. Like I said, it is more difficult here than anywhere else so far. So something I haven't mentioned yet, because it hasn't really been relevant, but now it kind of is that we can aim where we're firing by holding in the repulsor button halfway, and our lock-on function activates when we push the button in all the way. It's similar to our thrusters in that respect. Excuse me, I mean we can aim where we're looking, not where we're firing. You might notice the control field disappeared just now, and that's because we actually managed to destroy the drone. You can do that for all of the locations, and I recommend doing it before you actually get close to the base, for obvious reasons. This is also the level where I'll show that we can dodge while boosting. Like that. Even if there's nothing coming toward us immediately, it still makes it harder for the enemies to lock on to us if we do that. Which, if you're doing something like flying straight toward a group of enemies, is very useful. So it turns out that AIM hasn't given up on the whole nuclear power thing yet, which is good for them, but apparently very bad for the American military. We need to destroy the controller device in this area as quickly as possible, so that way we have a place to take cover, because we can get shot down really easy in this area in particular. All that shit flying past our heads isn't just for show. So if you're wondering where exactly that destroyer is that we're supposed to be rescuing, it's nowhere near us. You don't even have to see the destroyer to finish the level. And I'm not sure we do in this recording, so I'll go ahead and tell you what the destroyer does. It shoots at you. It's under control of AIM currently, so they use its weapons on you, but if you fire back, you'll hurt, well, American military personnel, which is bad. So the hero objective for this mission is just don't attack the destroyer, which is easy enough. Like I said, it's possible to not even see the destroyer. This area is just that large, and none of the enemy swarms are actually near the destroyer. Critics complained that this game gets repetitious, but I never found that the levels go on long enough for repetition to set in. And even the longer levels like this one are difficult enough to prevent it from being too boring. As I was saying earlier, under there is a great place to take cover. Virtually nothing can reach you. There are occasionally some enemies on the ground level that will be able to shoot you, but for the most part it's a safe zone. The Silver Centurion may not seem like the best choice of armor for this mission, but I was making the game look a little too easy earlier anyway. It's not nearly as difficult or frustrating as everyone says, but it is challenging, which I appreciate. It's a nice change of pace from the PS2 version, which is everything but challenging. There is a lot less dialogue in this mission than in the others so far, but that's because there isn't as much for the characters to talk about narratively. They still don't know what AIM is trying to power with this nuclear energy, but we know. Even so, there's really no one in this level to talk to either. There's no human opponents.
3 remaining.
So I guess you could consider this something of a filler level, but it's a filler level that fits in with the game's universe.
Approaching, sir. Hyena missile launch detected. Stark technology.
Crap, those things don't give up.
Control drone destroyed.
If you wanted to, you could definitely call this a filler level, but it still introduces new game mechanic ideas and it fits well with the game's universe. It's also pretty tough, which makes it fun for me at least. We're actually almost done fighting these swarms of enemies, even though Jarvis insists that we still have 3 bases left. That's because I've been shooting enemies from all 3 bases, and not just focusing on one. There's also a submarine that appeared while we were doing this, but they don't really mention that directly.
What do you think of those AIM vehicles, Jarvis?
Far superior to Magia, but far inferior to your latest creation, sir.
You getting an ego, Jarvis?
Jarvis will occasionally tell you when the submarine submerges or emerges, but there's no point in worrying about that yet because we still have a lot of enemies to shoot before we can focus on that. The submarine that appears is not to be confused with the destroyer, because submarines and destroyers are very different things. Depending on whether you actually find the destroyer during this mission, you might get confused and think the submarine is the destroyer, but you need to pay attention. So the hail of bullets and lasers and missiles has almost stopped. There's still some enemies left, but not nearly as much as there were, so we're not in as nearly as much danger. The level gets noticeably easier as it goes on because, again, the point is to eliminate the defenses. We're going to get up close and personal to these ground vehicles over here. Not this one, but the others, because we haven't done that in a while.
Area clear, sir. 2 remaining. Target has submerged, sir.
Damn coward.
So you can see that they definitely put a decent amount of detail into the models. It's a shame you always see them from so far away. Over here we're actually really close to the submarine. I believe it's behind us right now, and we'll get to see it before we fly away. Yep, right there. It just emerged right as we're about to go off. It packs quite a punch, but it's virtually useless on its own, which is why we're eliminating everything else first.
areas clear, sir. Submarine capable of repairing itself at an accelerated rate. Recommend rapid heavy fire, sir. Submarine surface breach detected, sir.
This boss works quite a bit differently from the others. It's capable of submerging to repair itself very, very quickly. So we need to make all of our damage count before it goes back under, which is what we're using the Unibeam for. The Unibeam cuts the boss fight time in half. Now, there aren't too many instances where I would say you should use the Unibeam over your normal weapons, but this is definitely one of them. You should also fly away as soon as you know that the submarine's going to submerge, so that way you can go to the next location as quickly as possible. And really, with this method, you should be able to take it out in no time.
Detected, sir.
Got 2 AIM projects looking for power sources. What are they looking to power and why? They're even a threat to our military. What did you sell these guys, Tony?
Damn it, Rudy, they got whatever was in stock. Don't pin it on me.
Then where did it come from?
I have no idea.